Hey everybody, so JP 1970 nominated me to do a lockdown challenge, and that is to show 2 kilometers or about 1.5 miles of your town. Now I don't live close to the center of town. I'm more than 2 miles away from the center, so I'm going to ride, and when I get to within 2 kilometers of the area that I want to show you, I will start talking again. So see you there. I'm not supposed to stop here, so I'm acting like there is a problem with my scooter so I can stop here and talk a minute. But you can't really talk about San Clemente without talking about a place that is just over the wall that I can't access. I will put a picture up of what it looked like in its heyday. There's an estate that was built in the 1920s, and it was called the Cotton Estate, named after the man that built it, H.H. Cotton. And now he lived there for quite a few years, and then it was purchased in the 60s by then President Nixon, and he renamed it to La Casa Pacifica, but it was also called the Western White House because he spent quite a bit of time here while he was the president, and he also retired here after he resigned from office. Now I know it's outside of the area, so I just wanted to do a quick little word on it because it's a big part of the town and the town's history. Alright, we're at the 2 kilometer mark. So, San Clemente is a little bit different than most other towns in Southern California. Now, most of the other towns were raised from existing places. Like they had little pueblos, or like San Juan Capistrano was built around the mission. San Clemente was purely a planned development. So back in the 1920s, there was a real estate developer, and he was the one-time mayor of Seattle. His name was Ole Hansen. He decided to make his own community. He wanted to build his own place from scratch. And so after looking around, he saw the area and decided this is where he wanted to do it. So he went out and bought, I think it was about 500 acres from the U.S. government of just clean open land that runs about 5 miles north and south and about almost a mile inland from the beach. And he started planning out his community. Now first he went to the Orange County City Building Commission trying to get roads put in. They wouldn't do it because they didn't want to build roads where there was 0 houses and 0 buildings. So what he did was he created the roads, and then instead of paving them, he had somebody paint them white. And then that way, when he took his aerial photographs, it looked like they had freshly poured concrete roads. And it ended up working, because he ended up selling, I think it was about 1,500 lots before anything was even built here at all. So that was in the 1920s. And when my mom moved here, it was in the 1950s, and there was about 5,000 people in town. Right now it's gone up. I think we're sitting at about 70,000 people. So it's kind of blown up. They've been built inland quite a bit. There's another community that actually might split off to be their own city in Talega. Not sure what they're going to do yet. But in San Clemente, there's 2 main business streets. You know, so there's all kinds of side residential streets going all over the place. But there's 2 main business streets, which is this street that I'm on, which is El Camino Real, going north to south. And then Del Mar is the main business street going down towards the beach. A lot of the buildings here have changed over the years. but there are quite a few that are still around. So if you look up on the right, there's the tallest building up there at the crest of Del Mar and El Camino Real. That's called the Historic City Hall. The real amusing thing is it was never City Hall. There's never been a government office in there. It is a private building, but some realtor decided to name it that. And the name stuck. Right? Now we're going down the main street of Del Mar, which is pretty much just little boutique shops, little mom and pop shops. We don't really have a lot of corporate influence down the main part of town anyway. And it's good to see the shops open back up, because I was starting to get worried about them. It is, I mean, since it is mostly mom and pop shops, I'm sure a lot of them were hurting for money. On the left is Sam's Shoes, which is my uncle's shop, and then the ice cream shop used to be my grandpa's tailor shop back when I was a kid. There's H.H. Cotton's, which is a restaurant named after one of the founders, the one that had that originally built La Casa Pacifica. Pretty good restaurant. I've been there a couple times. And then on the right is our library, which was renovated fairly not that long ago, but I'm not sure how much use it gets nowadays with everything going on online. And then coming up on the right, that whole area is Casa Romantica. So that was Ole Hansen's house that he had been built. He had it built in 1929, had a nice view of the ocean. Unfortunately, when the stock market crashed, he lost it to the bank in 1934. It is now called the Casa Romantica Gardens and City Center, I believe. And now we were coming down to the beach. This is the pier. As you see, it is one of only, I believe, 4 piers in Orange County. And if you look at it, that thing actually used to be twice as long as it is now. Back in I think it was 1983, we had a storm here. Really bad storm that knocked out a good chunk of the end of the pier. And so they decided to cut it down and leave it only half the length that it used to be. Now you see the beaches are open, but they aren't allowing people to park for some reason. I don't know why. First couple days they didn't have it blocked off, and so people would park there. And of course the police were having a nice little money grab writing tickets. I think when I was going down PCH on that day, when they opened up the beaches, they probably had like 9 cars out there giving tickets to every single car that was parked along that road. So they probably got a nice little chunk of change from that little cash grab. And so as you see, outside of those 2 main streets, it's mostly residential. So it's kind of nice having it all compressed inside of there. It's kind of tough when you got to find parking, but I mean, once you find a spot, you can walk around and pretty much do anything that you needed to do. Now when I was growing up, this was mostly Del Mar was mostly shops to get most of your items at. Like they had my grandfather's tailor shop. They had Sam's Shoes. They had a five and dime up on the corner here. And so anything that you needed to get, you know, like housewares, things like that, you'd get down here on Main Street. But then once they put the mall up in Mission Viejo, that kind of killed the business for the local shops, and it's mostly like odds and end boutique type things, touristy stuff, things like that, going up and down this strip now. And that's about it for a little section of my town. Hope you liked the video. Hope I did justice for San Clemente in response to Jason's video challenge. And I will see you all later.